This is Batgirl, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
This episode of Legends of the Dark Knight features Steve, Mike, and Tara.
Hello and welcome to Legends of the Dark Knight. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me in this adventure into Gotham City are...
Mike.
And Tara, Batgirl.
What's up, guys?
Not much.
Not since the last episode, anyway.
No, nothing much. Same old.
Yes.
Yep.
So, should we get into some episodes?
Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this.
What are you doing here?
Pre-dawn, the dockyards. Where else would a person in a mask be?
This is my gig. If I needed you, I'd have called.
Smugglers?
Gun runners, out of South America. The only cucumbers in those crates are .30 caliber. And here come the bag boys now. If you'll excuse me.
You're the one who raised him.
I saw him.
Didn't look like it.
Do you mind?
He's all yours.
I told you I didn't need...
A gift.
First up is You scratch my back. Perched on a water tower, Nightwing spies on a man making his rounds. Just then, Batman and Batgirl arrive at the scene, but Nightwing insists that he doesn't need backup. Still, Batman asks what's going on below, and Nightwing explains how they're gun smugglers from South America. At that moment, a truck pulls up and a forklift rolls off the back, which is Nightwing's cue to leap into action. Nightwing prepares for takeoff and raises his arms, activating the glider wings attached to his costume, and leaps from the tower and swoops down into battle.
I like this one. I thought it was pretty interesting that you're kind of, you kind of have a wholly Nightwing-centric episode.
Yeah, I have to say I like Nightwing episodes.
Because he's a badass.
Yes.
Just throw that out there. He became a total badass. I mean, not that he wasn't sort of a badass as Robin, but when he became Nightwing, oh man, totally different guy.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, his suit is almost reminiscent of the Batman Beyond suit.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially, and that's why I took the screen cap that I did for the script anyway. Those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, just visit the wiki page and you'll see it.
Yeah.
But it's got Nightwing standing there next to Batman and Batgirl, and he extends the wings, and it's just like the Batman Beyond.
Yeah, it's very similar.
So I got that vibe from it, and I thought that was kind of neat. But yeah, it was nice seeing Dick kind of break off on his own, like, let me do something my way for once. I'm grown, I can do this, I don't need your help. And then he gets humbled by the end of it because he figures out, I guess I could use a little help.
Yeah, because for most people that have not watched it yet, but for people just watching the series, and then as we spoke last week about, oh, hey, there's a new Robin. It's never, up until we get to an episode in a couple of weeks, one of my number one favorites from the New Adventures series, it's never explained. To this point in the series, to this episode, it's never explained why Dick Grayson moved on to become Nightwing and now Tim Drake is Robin. It's never explained up until we get to Old Wounds, and we'll talk about that obviously in a couple of weeks, but I think I don't know, I think they I like how they did explain it, but I think somehow that Old Wounds should have been before we ever saw a Nightwing episode. Because the way Old Wounds goes at the end is essentially you see the bat signal and Robin's like, you coming? And then Nightwing's like, oh, why not? And again, much like we spoke last week about Holiday Nights and Sins of the Father being reversed with Tim Drake and all that, I think that if Old Wounds aired before this episode, it would have made a heck of a lot more sense. I mean, yes, to us comics fans and animation fans, of course, we know who Dick Grayson went on to be Nightwing and all that stuff, but I think as far as a storytelling point, they should have aired Old Wounds first. Because Old Wounds is essentially the origin of how Dick Grayson became Nightwing.
No, I can completely agree with that.
I have to agree with that as well. It's just like what we were discussing last week. I mean, just for viewer purposes, if you're not familiar, you'll really be confused and you'll really not understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they decided to do it that way. I mean, I guess if we did a little bit more research and found out why the episodes aired in that order, we'll understand probably. But just, I guess from our standpoint, it just doesn't make any sense, and it is very confusing. So, I mean, it would have been nice. And I think it's funny that you made the reference to how his costume actually looks like the one in Batman Beyond. Yeah. Because to be honest, I've never looked at it like that.
I never noticed it till I saw that screen cap.
Yeah, it almost makes you think like that's where the influence for his costume design came from, was Nightwing's costume.
It's kind of and again, I hate to reference this, but it's a combination of Nightwing's costume, and it's a combination of the Batwoman costume in Mystery of the Batwoman. because that had more of the Dracula type of look to it a little bit. And then Nightwing's obviously is the more smoothed out version. Tara, what'd you think of this one?
I enjoyed it. I really liked it, and I think it was funny how Nightwing is just kind of like, let me do my own thing. Like, don't bother me. He's like, to Batgirl, he's like, you're kind of, like, you're annoying me. Like, get off my case. I'm not a child anymore. And when Batman comes up, and Batman, like, when he's first pursuing the guy at the beginning of the episode, and Batman, the funniest part, I actually burst out laughing when I rewatched this episode. And the guy runs around the corner, and Batman is just lying against the wall, just like chilling. And he's just like, and the guy looks at him, he's like, oh my god, it's Batman. Batman's gonna kill me. And Batman just stands there. And then Nightwing goes, and Batman's like, he's all yours. He's like, you don't want my help, okay. And then, again, with Catwoman coming into play, we see the redesign of Catwoman.
Yeah.
And
is not cool.
No. She looks all albino now, too.
Yeah.
She's all white.
Yeah.
So at first you think it's makeup, right? But you don't know. But it just, it's a new introduction to the way that the Batman series is going. And I guess it makes you a little bit sad because you kind of miss the old look. I mean, to me, Selena will always be in that gray outfit to me in the series. Like, I will always see her like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like 100%. 100%. But it was a really good episode, and I really enjoyed watching it.
I don't know. As far as the redesigns going, we'll be talking about this in the next coming weeks as we see more redesign stuff. But so far, as far as the redesigns go, I like... Okay, obviously you need a slight redesign on Robin since technically it's not Dick Grayson anymore. It's Tim Drake, so you kind of need a little bit of a new suit for him. I actually prefer this style of the Batman suit over the original TAS suit. I like the original, but I think this one just gives Batman just a whole lot more attitude to him.
I can see that.
And it just, for me, the black and gray pops more than the blue and the yellow and all that. I like that so much more. I will agree that some of the other redesigns are a little like we'll get to those when we get to them. Steve, what did you think of this episode?
Like I started out overall, I like the Nightwing costume thing. I think Catwoman was a little strange in this. I mean, I like the fact that they went for a little bit darker as far as the costume, but I didn't like the fact that she almost kind of blended too much with
Nightwing.
Yeah, Nightwing and Batman and all that stuff. I didn't like the fact that they, made her look like she's got Mr. Freeze's face.
Yeah.
And, you would think Dick Grayson would, after having been with Batman for so long, would never have kind of given Catwoman that kind of a close, would never have hung that close to her.
Yeah, but, okay, think of it this way. Catwoman is a better animated version of Uma Thurman, and Lauren Lester as Nightwing is Chris O'Donnell as Robin. They're essentially homaging, but doing Batman and Robin better than what Batman and Robin was, how that was done as far as that whole romantic angle between a female villain and Dick Grayson. So I liked it. I thought it was really interesting.
Oh, I didn't say I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange in a sense. So
yeah.
But yeah, overall, I liked the episode really well. So getting into production and trivia, production notes. When Catwoman's escape boat blows up, the resulting explosion is reused footage from the scene of the Superman the Animated Series episode, World's Finest Part 3, in which two Wayne Lex T7 droids blow up after Batman electrocutes them. The inconsistencies. The civilian shipping schedule includes the HMS Bounty. HMS is a prefix only used by the Royal Navy, and military ships do not appear on civilian schedules. The name is a reference to a famous ship. The trivia. The shipping schedule contains the names of several famous ships. It says... Yes, Andrea Doria was an Italian admiral. Several ships were named after him. The SS Minnow is the charter boat that ran aground in Gilligan's Island. Nice. The HMS Bounty, famous for its mutiny. The Poseidon is a cruise liner from disaster book and movies The Poseidon Adventure. Though Selina's new hair color is left unexplained in the series, Batman Gotham Adventures #4 sets up the lost year for Catwoman. She was originally black-haired and dyed her hair blonde. After she found out the brand she used was involved in animal testing, she permanently scarred the firm's owner, Amy Mercedes, and never dyed her hair again. That would have been information that should have been in an episode.
Yeah.
See, now it makes sense.
Yeah, now it makes sense. But you have to read the comics and you have to watch the shows, so it's kind of a double-edged
but you
sword.
shouldn't have to, though.
No, they should have had an episode. After all, they had the one where Isis, and her getting drugged kind of thing. So, anyways, though he had appeared as Dick Grayson in Sins of the Father, this is the DCAU debut of Nightwing. And it says blood is shown twice in this episode, which was a rare sight when the episode was made. Enrique El Gancho cuts Batman's arm and has blood running from his nose. So, yeah. And also, people refer to these reboot or, revisiting the new Batman Adventures as the Red Sky or Gotham Knight series. Yeah. Which I've heard the Gotham Knight before, but the Red Sky was something I'd never heard until, I think JT said something. Yeah. And so it was kind of interesting to me when we did the Batman Spotlight, how that came about.
Yeah. It was I believe Bruce Timm talked about this again in one of the special features, either on the DVD or it might have been one of the commentaries, where they were talking about the redesigns, and they were redesigning everything. They weren't just redesigning the characters. They had to redesign Gotham, and they kind of consistently had a dark theme with Gotham. I mean, very, very rarely in the original run of TAS was there ever like a daylight. There might have been one or two daylight scenes, but most of the first seasons of BTAS were at night for the most part, or some sort of darkness, and they wanted to do something slightly different, but yet still keep it dark. The reason why they used a red sky was because of how they brightened up some of the costuming on the characters. So if you had a bright sky, you know what I mean, the costumes would have blended in, and the backgrounds would have been the focus, versus this way with the red sky, the costumes are the focus more so than the backgrounds.
I can see that. So anything else on this episode?
Nope.
Nothing for me.
All right, with that, we'll be moving on.
Hey, it's him!
Who, Mommy? Who? Mommy, who is it?
Why, that's Batman, honey. Maybe it's not him.
Yahoo!
What's his story?
Let's ask. okay?
Great! Never been better.
Right. Now, there's a window a few feet from here. And if you just follow me...
Window? I'm not going in. This is gonna be the best night of my life.
It could also be the last.
Oh, come on. There's nothing to be afraid of. Fear's a prison, you see. And I've just broken out. Diddle-lim-bum-bum, diddle-lim-bum-bum. Tag! Yahoo!
Next up is Never Fear. A man swings madly through Gotham's skyscrapers. Onlookers initially mistake him for Batman, at least until he smacks into a bank of lights. The real thing quickly spots him, and with Robin close behind, follows him until the man's wild antics destroy part of a huge ad and leave him dangling over a ledge. Together, Batman and Robin manage to stop the ad's debris and its live wires from crushing or electrocuting anyone below.
This was a interesting episode. I've never been a fan of the Scarecrow, so I didn't care either way about the old design or the new design. The new design is slightly more creepy than the old design, but just didn't really care either way. Scarecrow episodes for me, there's only one Scarecrow episode that I really care about, and that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. But other than that, this is not one of them.
Tara?
I actually really enjoyed this episode, and even though it started off a little shaky, and you're really not really sure what's going on at first, but as soon as you're in the boardroom and you see that shadowy figure and you hear the voice, you know it's a Scarecrow episode. Mm-hmm. So at that point, you're like, do I continue watching it since I already know what kind of thing this is going to happen, or do I just keep watching or not watch? But it was so funny because when Bruce Wayne gets caught and he's sprayed with the Scarecrow's fear gas. Well, I guess anti-fear gas would be the better thing to call it. He's like, I can handle it. But then you see Batman doing kind of un-Batman-like things where he's just like, he's driving the ship, and immediately you're like, okay, something's totally wrong with him. The gas has really gone to his head because he's driving so neurotically, and especially when with the guy, when he's trying to pump information out of him, and he's gonna kill him, and Batman doesn't kill. Batman doesn't kill anybody, so for him just to leave him there, and Robin's just like, oh shit. And then I love how before the commercial break, he gets tied up, and you see Robin, and Batman's like face is like, what? It's like, come on, Batman, like, you knew that was gonna happen. Like, Robin's just like being like a good sidekick. Like, he knows Batman's not himself. He knows Batman's kind of a little bit messed up right now. Something like the gas obviously got to his head, and he wants him, he wants to make sure he's not going to do anything stupid. Yeah. And basically, like how when he says to him, like, I'll let you be the man on this mission, and Robin's coming back, and he's like, wait a second. He's like, you almost had me that time. So, like it was like that. And then you see Batman being like, let me go, untie me, you little, like, he was about to say a swear word. Like, you little
bastard.
Yeah, we knew he was about to call him a bastard. That's how we knew, like, hey, this is not the Batman that we all know and love and respect and fear. It's not him. But it was such a good episode, and I just think it's funny. That scene is funny when he ties him up and takes his utility belt. Batman's like, what is this little scrawny little runt doing? Like, come on. And then at the end, when he's leaving with the subway and the train, and he's like Robin, he's like, jump off the train, and then he's like, well, what about Scarecrow? And then he's like, don't worry, I'm not gonna leave him on the train. And he saves him, so we know he's back to normal. But it's not the first time that we've seen a Batman kind of not all there, where we've seen him kind of influenced and doing stuff. But I mean, this is the first time we've really seen him actually almost kill somebody. I mean, if Robin hadn't been there, and I don't even know how Robin was able to lift that guy up, because I mean, Batman is clearly stronger than Robin, but the fact that Robin was able to lift that guy up from the edge, was kind of remarkable. But yeah, this was a good Scarecrow episode. I enjoyed it.
Robin took his Superman pills.
Yep.
As for myself, I really liked this episode just for the fact that you could see Robin kind of shine because of Batman's weakness, or so he thinks, lack thereof. But I'm not a fan of this version of Scarecrow. The style of him.
No.
I mean, he looks more creepy than the other one. I mean, granted, the other one was more colorful and a little more creepy in essence too.
Did he
but
weight, or is it just me?
Is it what?
Did he gain weight, or is it just me? Like
I think he lost weight. I think
he lost weight. He's all bone.
Oh, okay.
I think he's pretty much bony now, and his his mask is now his it's tightly wrapped to his face instead of open. And there's a noose.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, when you see him, right? When you see the new design of him, he looks really bigger than he was before.
He's taller.
Oh,
he's taller.
Okay. So they made him taller.
He might have a bigger shoulder line, but he's very, very, very scrawny.
Maybe that's what made him look more bigger. He looks hunched over, if I'm not mistaken. He looks like he's got like a humpback or something. A hunchback or something. That's what I saw when I first saw him.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, his anti-fear solution I thought was kind of interesting, that it almost took down Batman himself.
Yeah, I've never cared for Scarecrow as a character. Use fear gas or whatever you're going to use to make the people scared of you, but I don't know, I've never really cared that much for Scarecrow. You want to do some of the production, Steve?
Sure. Production inconsistencies. Subway cars have a dead man switch, where the operator has to hold a switch down or a handle in place to operate the train. If the operator has a heart attack or another serious problem and is disabled, the brakes automatically activate. There's no indication of any dead man switch in the train in this episode. It's just a run-on train,
Yeah.
Drunken train. At the end of every subway line, there are mechanical trips which activate the train's brakes to prevent the train from running off the end of the line. Wow, that is a tongue twister.
End of line.
End of line. After Robin ties Batman up, he removes Batman's utility belt. When Batman escapes and catches up with the train, his utility belt is suddenly back.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
It happens. When an electrical line is cut, the only way both ends could be sparking is if both are connected to a power source. It's highly unlikely that this would be done in an outdoors overhead power grid.
Yeah, that's very true. As far as some trivia bits, the one that really interested me, because I did not know this, I didn't even notice it when I watched the episode, and I don't know how I did not notice this, but this episode marks the first appearance of Scarecrow in the new Batman Adventures. He is given a new, more horrifying appearance, and is voiced by Jeffrey Combs, replacing Henry Pollock II. Oh my god, you have Ratchet / The Question voicing Scarecrow. What the hell? That's awesome. The auditorium where Scarecrow's Never Fear seminars take place looks like the Pan Pacific Auditorium on Beverly Boulevard in Hollywood, California. It's a classic example of Art Deco, which was the inspiration for the Dark Deco look of the animated Batman series. And the auditorium is best known for its appearance in the movie Xanadu.
Yep, that tells me a lot right there.
Yeah. Well, I think the more, impressive trivia bit is that Ratchet from Transformers Prime was the Scarecrow at one point. So that's pretty much it for this one.
Alrighty, so with that, we'll be moving on.
Miss me.
Hey!
Quick! More bullets!
Sorry, Puddin', that was the last clip. You know how expensive they are.
Sounds like someone turned off your cash flow.
If it's a flow you want, I'm happy to oblige. No! My eye! Sucker! Come on! Well, that was a complete fiasco. If we weren't so strapped for cash, I'd never have touched this job. Give me the loot.
Don't you have it?
Me? You were the last one to... I thought I told you to get gas.
We're broke, remember? What was I supposed to do? Fill the tank, shoot the guy, and drive off?
Mm-hmm.
Now you tell me.
Oops. Time to eject.
Hey, where's mine?
Sorry, kiddo. I could only afford one.
You cheap, penny pinching, pasty face creep! I'll get you for this, you lousy tightwad! Ah!
Next is Joker's Millions.
Broke ass mother.
You shut your mouth, kid.
Don't piss off the Joker.
The Joker and Harley Quinn flee a botched attempt at a robbery, pursued by Batman and Batgirl. Joker's money problems come up constantly during the battle, as they cannot afford ammo for their gun, acid for Joker's boutonniere, gas for the getaway car, or more than a single ejector seat, which Joker uses to escape, ditching Harley to be caught and returned to Arkham Asylum. Joker retreats to his low-income apartment and gets a sudden burst of glee when he reads a letter revealing that one of his criminal enemies, Edward King Barlow, has passed away and has left a staggering fortune of $250 million to him. That is hilarious.
What's even more hilarious is what happens, because somebody actually got one over on the Joker, because King Barlow always hated the Joker, and he basically set him up to be in debt. And he pretty much says about $10,000 of it, or the first 1,000, or whatever it is.
It was the first million, I think.
It was the first million?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he basically says the first million was real, the rest is fake.
Which I think is hilarious.
And that's gotta piss him off.
Yeah.
I mean, at first, right, when the IRS comes, And what's that comment? You guys might remember it word for word. He makes a comment. He's like, I can deal with Batman, but the IRS, no, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. It was, I guess we pretty much summed it up, but this is hilarious.
Yeah, this is just a great episode, Steve.
I think this episode's hilarious because Joker not only is planning to go legit, he gets lawyers and psych experts to erase his criminal records and have him declared sane. Batgirl thinks that Joker may give up crime now that he's rich, but Batman is kind of like, he'll fold. And Penguin has a party for him, and the entire Bat family happens to be there, which is hilarious. And I think it's hilarious that the Joker hires a new hench girl who he dubs Fake Harley.
Fake Harley.
Instead of just bailing her out of jail, he hires a fake Harley. And then Harley finds out in prison and is pissed off when she learns that they're holding auditions for a new hench girl.
I don't blame her. She's the one who first broke him out of Arkham in the first place.
Multiple times.
Yeah. Like, she went cuckoo for him. Like, literally, she went from being, like, this brilliant doctor to frickin' villain, like, psychopath.
And it's funny because Joker tries to commit suicide as an alternative to losing his money.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't blame him in that part.
Don't be stupid. You can't save that money. I don't want to save it. I want to go with it.
I want to die with it.
The funny thing about Fake Harley is I believe she is voiced by Arlene. I think she is.
Fake Harley is Maggie Wheeler.
Oh, okay.
I could tell it wasn't the same person, though.
Yeah. The thing about Fake Harley is instead of Mr. J, she calls him Mr. G. Which is pretty interesting.
It's funny.
Yeah, the whole thing is just... I'm trying to see where else I've seen the voice actress for the Fake Harley.
She has been, correct me if I'm wrong, and I really hope like people don't laugh at me for knowing this, the Barbie movies.
Yeah.
She was in the Barbie movie. She voiced the evil guy's daughter in Barbie and Barbie of Swan Lake.
Yeah.
She voiced the evil girl because I would remember that voice anywhere. That laugh. Oh my God, that's what she's known for. She's known for that laugh. And
she was in Seinfeld. She was in L.A. Law. She was in The X-Files, Friends. She's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And what I just mentioned, Barbie.
But yeah, no, I mean, Joker's Millions, it's so great. Such a great episode.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So, getting into some production notes. When Joker blows up the TV set, the resulting explosion is reused footage again from World's Finest Part 3.
See,
it seems like that's a result. That's like
that.
It's a consistent theme.
They don't just do it in Batman. They've done it in a show called Gargoyles too. If you guys watched Gargoyles growing up.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, if you want, yeah, Gargoyles was like,
yeah.
You go back and watch the episodes on YouTube, and people in the comments are actually saying like they reused footage from this episode. Like, how lazy is that?
Well, it's not necessarily lazy. It's more so saving them money and time.
Yeah, I understand.
Because if you think of specifically a lot of the Filmation stuff in the 80s, like He-Man and She-Ra, they used they had a stock footage library where they would just use the same shot over and over and over again for certain shots, and that's a way for them to save money. That's the same thing with this. Whereas it's just it was just a way for them to save money, so...
Yeah, but I mean, there's a way... But isn't there, like, a way to do it where people aren't going to come back and notice that you reused it? Because, I mean, when you're going to do that, you want to do it without making it noticeable, right?
Yeah, but when I was watching it, I didn't even really.
It's not until after someone points it out that it becomes a.
Yeah. Until somebody points it out, I don't really pay that much attention to it. As far as like effects and animation goes and all that, I don't really pay that much attention to the explosions.
Mm-hmm. But to some people, it comes off as lazy.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
And getting into the trivia, the episode is directly based on the comic book story Joker's Millions in Detective Comics number 180 in February of 1952. There's similars to 1985's Brewster's Millions. The Joker must be entirely destitute. It says small caliber bullets were pennies each at the time this episode was made, especially in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Penguin's first appearance in the new Batman Adventures. It says which at first was deliberately modeled after that of the freakish Danny DeVito version in Batman Returns, and is remade to more of the normal classic version of the character before that movie came out.
Yeah.
It also is the first appearance of the Iceberg Lounge.
Yes.
Harley's police officer costume resembles the one she wore during her first appearance in Batman the Animated Series Joker's Favor.
Yep.
This episode contains a musical montage of Joker enjoying his fortune. They'll reuse that again in Superman the Animated Series.
Superman's pal, yeah.
The male candidate for a replacement Harley is based on writer Paul Dini, although his voice more closely resembles the Freakazoid character Fanboy. The scene where Joker uses lawyers to buy his freedom is a satire of the O.J. Simpson murder case. One of the Joker's lawyers resembles Johnny Cochran, one of Simpson's defense attorneys. The lawyer's statement, "If a man's filled with glee, that man must go free," is a clear parody of Cochran's now famous catchphrase regarding a glove: "If it does not fit, you must acquit." It says this phrase was parodied twice more during the DCAU in the new Batman Adventures episode Over the Edge and the Justice League episode in Blackest Night.
Yeah.
And in the comics, being declared insane is the only thing that saves Joker from the death penalty, which his crimes have merited many times over. Similarly, the insanity defense has worked for pretty much every revolving door Batvillain in Arkham Asylum. His frustration with this system led Lyle Bolton to become the vigilante Lockup.
Yep. Yeah, overall, it's a pretty fun, ironic episode. I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's almost on par with the casino one with the Joker.
Yeah.
That's what I compare it to. That's what it reminds me of, but it's really funny.
I like that one too, but yes. So is that it on this one?
Yeah.
All right, with that, we'll be moving on.
Check it out. What do we got here? Past your bedtime, ain't it, cutie? What's the matter? Don't you want to play?
Maybe she doesn't like slime.
Halloween's over, kid. Now scram before you get hurt.
The girl leaves with me, or you're the one getting hurt.
What was that? Oh, tough guy.
all right? You're welcome. Is that what you're running from? Are you in trouble with the cops? I just want to help.
You can't. I have to keep moving.
Is there somewhere I can take you? Do you have a family?
I can't remember.
Wait!
Up next is Growing Pains. A girl is walking out on the streets alone and frightened when she catches the attention of a violent street gang. The gang surround her when Robin steps in. He defeats the gang, and when he turns to check on the girl, she tells him that she can't remember anything and that she has to keep moving, and then runs off in panic. He chases after her but is interrupted by the bat signal. Growing Pains is one of those episodes that really gives you insight as to how Tim Drake approaches being Robin. I really, really, really enjoy it, how throughout the entire episode he is so gung-ho on saving this girl, even though Batman doesn't want to hear it. And of course, as we find out later, that she was just a piece of Clayface. Even though Tim doesn't want to believe it, he believes that she is a real separate entity than just a piece of Clayface. Yes, this is mainly just a Clayface episode. I see why some people might not like it, but I love it for the simple fact that it actually gives you more character in 20-something minutes for Tim Drake than he has pretty much in the whole series altogether. And it's just absolutely awesome. Tara?
I think this episode was really cute in the way it started, because you have this frightened girl, and you immediately think, ooh, Robin's got a crush. So you think that, and it's cute, and it's also sad because it's not a real person. It's part of Clayface. And that's what I was like. I hadn't watched that episode in a while, so when I was rewatching it earlier today, to see that, I'm like, oh my god, she's like, I don't remember who I am, I don't know where I came from, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, oh my god, she's like, I'm part of Clayface. I am Clayface. Mm-hmm. And I think that was pretty sad, just to find that out, because at the end, when they're putting Clayface away, he's like, oh, also charge him for murder. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not really murder because it's a part of him. So technically, he'd just be murdering himself.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Steve?
Yeah.
I didn't really care for this episode overall. I mean, I do agree that it does give Robin a lot more growing time than he's ever had. But I'm not a fan of Clayface in general. It was an interesting twist, to say the least, that the Annie was a part of Clayface, because I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
But it was interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, I like it because it's showing that not every single episode has to be Batman focused. And this is the first, outside of his origin episode last week, this is the first real episode that is focused solely on Tim Drake Robin, and that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love it. For some continuity bits, this is Clayface's last appearance in the show. He would later appear in Justice League when he joined Gorilla Grodd's Secret Society in Secret Society. This episode's flashback explains how Clayface survived his apparent death in the first series episode Mudslide. A sign in the episode says Kane, the last name of obvious Batman comics creator Bob Kane. And as I said earlier, Robin, unusually, is the main focus of this episode. This is one of those episodes that I can watch anytime. I can go back and I can watch it. This is just one of those episodes for me. I absolutely love it. Any other thoughts, guys?
No, I think
it was interesting. It was just interesting. I mean, I guess this episode, if you're like me and you have a warm fuzzy spot for stories like this, it does kind of touch you a little bit. Just because, you feel for Robin. Like, he had a friend and his friend is gone now, so it's kind of sad. But it was a good episode.
We are gonna move on.
Hey! Oh! Baby, did you use the whole box of bubble bath?
I didn't mean to.
You sure this is the right hotel? I don't remember the floor going uphill.
It's your head that's tilting, Harry. Oh, what now?
The key. I must have fell out when the sidewalk hit me.
My husband lost our room key. Fetters 703.
I'll get you a duplicate.
You used to be somebody, didn't you? On TV? Yeah, you were Baby Doll. You got that disease.
It's a condition, not a disease. I don't grow.
Right. So you went nuts and tried to kill Batman.
Harry, that's enough.
Oh!
See? She's Baby Doll. Come on, baby. Do something funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. Why don't they ever understand? I'm not a baby. I'm not a child. I'm just different.
Our Baby Doll Marathon will continue after...
Court will come to order. Bring in the prisoner. Have you anything to say before I pass judgment?
Yeah. I'm a victim of prejudice. Look at me. Nobody understands how rough my life's been. Just 'cause I'm different.
Nevertheless, it is the judgment of this court that you, Killer Croc, are competent to stand trial for murder in the first degree. Court is adjourned.
Competent? Competent? That's an insult, you old bag of gas. I'm not just competent. I'm as good as it gets!
And finally up today is Love is a Bitch. Oh, I mean, Love is a Croc. This by far is the worst episode out of the New Adventures season.
Good night, everybody.
All right, we're going to ads. We're not even going to cover this episode. This episode sucks.
So much wrong. Just watch it and you'll see.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm now for some Geekcast Radio Network sponsors. We'll be back after this.
Legends of the Dark Knight will be back after this.
Emerging from the dark humor that was the Beast Unleashed podcast, Steve Megatron, TFG1 Mike, Pecan Court Michael, and the Cybertronian correspondent Optimus Solo move on to Transformers Animated with Transformation Animation Podcast. 20 episodes covering all 3 seasons of the cartoon, the books, and the awesome toy line. We will also have cast and crew interviews, so get tapped with GCRN's next Transformers franchise podcast, Transformation Animation Podcast, available on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Get your tap on.
Decepticons, transform and rise up.
Hey, I'm Gary.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chuck.
And I'm Justin.
Join the 4 of us every week on the internet's #1 and longest-running G.I. Joe podcast, What's on Joe Mind? It's Joe news, reviews, and interviews like you've never heard them before, delivered right to your MP3 player.
Our guests include Jason Marsden, Kevin Michael Richardson, and Matt Yang King from G.I. Joe Renegades, Larry Hama, Robert Adkins, and John Barber from IDW Publishing, and many more from around the online Joe community.
Yeah, it's guys talking about Joe. Think of it as Joe Talk meets Sports Talk. And we make fun of Chuck.
Right, and we... Hey, again?
Come on, Chuck. We're just kidding. Kinda.
Sometimes Chuck makes fun of himself.
Right, and we... Okay, seriously, this is just getting ridiculous now.
It's What's on Joe Mind, every week on the Geekcast Radio Network, InsidePulse.com, Stitcher Smart Radio, and iTunes. Download and listen today.
I suppose I still can't say something about Transformers, can I?
Good.
No.
What about sports?
That sounds good.
Yeah, that's all right.
Beyond good, beyond evil, beyond your wildest imagination.
Are you ready to have your dreams worked on? That's right, Beyonder Season 2 of Tooncast Beyond is coming soon, and we will be talking all kinds of films from DreamWorks Animation. We'll have plenty of DeLorean Time episodes as well, so tune in August 1st, 2012, as TFG1 Mike, Optimus Solo, Steve Megatron, JT from Saskatoon, Sketch 1984, and more bring you the next season of Tooncast Beyond. You can find us on iTunes and on geekcastradio.com.
In the morning, I'm making waffles.
Donkey, shut up and leave me alone.
We now return to Legends of the Dark Knight.
And now we're back. So, ratings of the episodes we covered today, guys?
Love is a Croc gets a 0. After that, I'd put Never Fear, You Scratch My Back, Joker's Millions, then Growing Pains.
Tara?
I would have to say my favorite was Joker's Millions, Never Fear, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Was those 2 episodes were awesome. I mean, I will say I enjoyed Growing Pains. But honestly, yeah, not really. But and Love is a Croc. I'm not even going to mention anything.
We can't even talk about that episode. That episode is so bad.
Just honestly, just like I said, there's so many things wrong with it. Just baby doll. Just when you hear the word baby doll, oh god. But yeah, those are my 2 favorite episodes. And Growing Pains, very sad, but good episode.
And my top out of my episodes, I'd say Love is Croc is the bottom feeder of the episode, and I mean that with every ounce.
Yes,
I would put for me, Growing Pains would be next, and then You Scratch My Back, Never Fear, and then Joker's Millions is my number 1. As if anybody had any doubt.
Yeah, really.
So is that it, everybody?
That's it.
That's it for me.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining us for Legends of the Dark Knight. If you'd like to leave feedback on the show, there are many ways to do so. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you were leaving the message for and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching out Geekcast Radio Network. You can follow us on Twitter at LOT Dark Knight. My Twitter name is at SCP-21. What are your Twitter names?
TFG and Mike.
At Tara Blair.
Join us next time when we discuss Torch Song, The Ultimate Thrill, Over the Edge, Mean Seasons, and Critters. So for now, I'm Steve Megatron Phillips with
TFG and Mike.
Tara, the Rising Star Batgirl.
Singing the immortal words of Batman, I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
See you next
time.
time.
Thank you for listening. Yes.
Train, meet, wreck.
I was trying to do something funny and it fucked up.
Just go.
I just wanted to say, see you next time, suckers. No, I'm not going to say that.
Ooh. Technical difficulties. Let's move on, shall we?